What's going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 27 in my 10th annual 31 Days of Horror. This is a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And side note, before we get into today's review, somebody left a comment on my last video, and they said that I missed a day. And I just want to say, I did not miss a day, if you're asking me. My current work schedule, I was uploading these like extremely early the night before. I kind of got backed up a little bit. But my current work schedule, I don't get off of work until 11 p.m. and I don't get home until midnight. So when I get home, technically the day has passed. It's technically the next day. But to me, it's like my day is halfway over. Like, my day doesn't end until like 6 a.m. So, the way that my life's set up, I'm still fucking counting it, guys. But, no, like, also, another thing, I uploaded at like 1:30 at night, because I always said, too, if I'm before 3 a.m., or 3 a.m., which is midnight West Coast time, I'm good. But I actually uploaded it, and you could look, at 1:30 a.m. I just forgot to take it off of private. The way YouTube's set up now with, like, you have to, like, publish it and change the thing. It's automatically set up for private every time. But I actually forgot until, like, 5 a.m. And I was like, damn it. But I did upload the video, like, at night when I got home. So I'm still counting it. I feel like I'm doing good this year. So F you guys if you doubt me. Like, you know, F you. But no, anyway, today's review is actually going to be a title that I have seen before. Not this version. I had it on a DVD 4-pack. And that is The Fear from the year 1995. This is an interesting one. Sort of a weird one for Vinegar Syndrome to put out. But then again, I mean, aren't they all? It's Vinegar Syndrome. I had this in a 4-pack with a couple of other films. One was like Killer Tongue, which is awful, from 96. And then the sequel to this, The Fear 2 Resurrected, also known as The Fear 2 Halloween Night. I guess it's set on Halloween. I've never seen that one, actually. I'm actually surprised that Vinegar Syndrome did not release The Fear 2 with The Fear. That's a little bit... I could have seen them do this as a double pack instead. But I forget what the fourth film in there was. I don't remember. But I had watched the... Oh, I think it's Splice or something like that, or it's another like 90s slasher. It's another 90s movie, like 1997 or 2000 or something. But The Fear I've seen, and I remember watching it and thinking it was a really weird one, but it was years ago. So when Vinegar Syndrome announced the Blu-ray, I made sure to pick it up in the package, and I was curious to check it out. It was like the one that was on the shelf that I was like most excited to like sort of watch and revisit. So I decided to pick up The Fear, and the movie is definitely, it might even be weirder than I remembered, but it essentially follows this guy who is a psychology major at a college, and he's doing a project on fear and people's fear of things. And his professor is played by, and it's shocking, I forgot this, and then he shows up on screen, I'm like, what? He's played by Wes Craven. So Wes Craven is this dude's professor, which is just, it's like weird. Like, how did Wes Craven get involved in this? I wanted to watch the special features just to see if they talked about that. And I did start them, and there's like a 50-minute making of documentary on there. And I only watched about 10 minutes before I fell asleep. But I was very curious. Very curious about this film in general, just because it's kind of a weird one. And he basically invites his friends out to like this childhood home or cabin, to sort of do a closed study, a controlled study on people's fear. And while they're there, there's sort of a subplot where like each person has a fear, and that's kind of like used against them, but it's kind of a little shoddy the way that it's handled. And then also his like uncle shows up dressed in a Santa Claus costume because he runs some sort of Santa Claus roadside attraction like holiday thing. But first I was like, is this a Christmas movie? Because it's not snowing or anything, but it could be set in like Los Angeles or something. I don't know. But he brings all these people there, and it's like a weird collective group of people. The most weird dude is the like, I don't even know what you would call him. Like he's he's like a white dude who is really into like black culture, it seems. He may be a culture vulture. But he like has like braids or not braids, dreadlocks, and is like, you know, has an accent and stuff like that. He's a weird character. Very annoying, actually. Actually, he feels like Pauly Shore, like a version of Pauly Shore or something to me. And they're all doing this like fear exercise and sharing their fears and stuff like that. And there's also this dummy that's there. It's like this old wooden dummy that was made as like a gift from some Native American or something for the main lead character's father's shop. And I think his name's Morty. Yeah, Morty. And as the audience watches, like, we're like, okay, is this dummy gonna come to life or something? It's weird how the dummy plays into everything. It's very weird because it's almost like there's two stories going on. But also, like, other weird stuff in this movie is like the soundtrack is primarily hip hop. Like, it's like you and weird hip hop too. Like, you have Gravediggers, which is RZA's old group from Wu-Tang Clan, and Esham, which is like a Detroit underground horrorcore artist. I believe he created the term acid rap, or one of the originators of acid rap. And this weird sort of like literally hip hop soundtrack, but like horrorcore hip hop, and that like really surprised me as well. And then there's like the whole thing with the doll is like really weird. And then there's like this in the opening there's a rape that happens on campus, and like the dude with the dreads is like blamed for it, but then that comes back in later in the film, and there's another random rape in the movie that is like you don't expect because it feels like it's gonna be like a slasher type thing. And then there's like this weird like incestuous thing going on too that you're like, what the hell? And then the like whole reveal of like what the main character's fear and his backstory, that's weird too. Bunch of weird stuff in this movie. It's very weird, but it almost makes you like it because it's unique. It's like not like everything else that you've seen before, which is like a positive. I actually really like this movie. I think that it's sort of bad at times. Like, some of the acting's a bit rough. The story, the setup, it's a bit silly. Like, all the characters don't feel like they're friends at all. Like, nobody feels like they're friends at all. It almost feels like just a bunch of people. The whole thing with the like playing on the fears and stuff is not really done that well. It's shot okay, but at times it almost looks like a direct-to-video like 90s movie, which it almost was. I think it did get a little theatrical release. Some interesting effects in there, especially with the wooden mannequin. I do appreciate that. Thought it was pretty good. But yeah, I really like The Fear. I think that it's a fun movie. If you've never seen it, give it a shot. It has that like mid-90s direct-to-video quality, which I actually like. I like that look for some reason. It's nostalgic for me. So I actually am down with that, but it's kind of a weird movie. Not necessarily good, but I like it. It's like a guilty pleasure good. And when I say guilty pleasure, I don't mean like, I know people are like, oh, I'd never say guilty pleasure. I don't feel guilty for watching anything. I'm like, I don't actually feel guilty. It's just a way to describe a movie that's maybe not good, but you still like it. Anyway, I give The Fear a 6 out of 10, but it's a definite recommend. So with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another Vinegar Syndrome review. Until then, peace out.